Hi, welcome to this video dedicated to the Hubsan H501S. Well, a lot of people require me to review and to give my opinion about this Hubsan product. This model is nothing else than the increased size of the Hubsan X4, the Plus version, but comes in brushless edition and in FPV edition, and it's including also a 1080p camera, frontal camera. So it's a full RTF packaging to a kind of small and AP machine to shoot some correct videos and more. You have a GPS and a double GPS system, one inside the quadcopter and one inside the radio transmitter. So with this double GPS module, you have a follow me function. So let's open the box and discover what you will find. Okay, so here is the quadcopter. First of all, I really like the general design. Well, it's nothing else than the improved size of the Hubsan H501S Plus or C Plus, but you have this kind of bump top canopy, and here you can find the wide lens associated with 1080p camera. The material, the plastic material, is pretty soft and flexible. Okay, it means that I don't think it will break in a lot of different pieces during a hard crash. I think this kind of plastic will absorb as soon, I will say, we try to absorb the energy spread in the crash by a kind of distortion of the plastic without cracking completely. It's a good point. Well, you have here on the bottom side micro SD slot. Be aware, no micro SD card are provided. So here I inserted a 4 GB formatted in FAT32. Okay, and LEDs can be found on each feet. Okay, each foot. So changing the color according you are entering in compass calibration, or you are in an altitude or on GPS mode, so according to the flight mode as well. The weight without the LiPo battery is pretty light, I would say, for such a 300mm quadcopter. So without the LiPo, the weight is 315 grams, and if you add the LiPo, reach 430, so you have to add also the weight of the 4 props. They are 7.3 inch, self-tighting one, but the total weight should not be above, I'm not sure you will manage to install like this, but anyway, should not exceed 450 grams. Okay, so 450 grams, 51 grams to be more precise. So it's relatively light for a 300mm quadcopter size. Okay, the front camera is a little bit targeting the ground. You have an angle of 5 degrees in my point of view. And I hope you can see you have this wide angle, probably a 120 degrees of field of view. Well, the GPS module is hidden behind this part. I hope, and it seems to be the case, that is relatively well protected from the main interferences. When you open the rear compartment, the rear doors, you can find a C2 lead connector, not very used, more AC3 or AC5, but it's a very small one, so the advice I will give immediately is to buy a connector, for example, TED to a C2 or XT60 to a C2 in order to use a normal charger. With this one, you have this basic model, okay, using the balancer plug, classic one, but it's better to use a better one. And the battery, in the first glance, seems to be not bad. It's a 2,700 milliamp hours, a 2S, but it's only rated 10C. So the capacity seems huge for the size, but the discharge rate is not very good. So the product is the more important of these two values, 2,700 multiplied by 10. In fact, it's nothing else equivalent that, for example, 1,350 by 20C, usually this kind of classic discharge rate. So this battery, don't be impressed, is not fantastic at all. And 10C for me is not very, it can be a problem, you know. You can have some LiPo swagging or some stuff like this because the discharge rate is not strong enough. So be aware if you have some strange attitude, sometime if you want to stop, don't be surprised, it can come from the batteries. Okay, so the total weight is 113 grams to be precise, and I will give the dimension, okay, if you need some spare one. So it's more than 104 millimeters by something like 34 by 16, okay? So if you find some 1,500 rated 20C, in fact it's better, okay, to use such third replacement batteries. You have two sets of props. They are 7.3 inch self-tightening, and another remark, the motor are spinning in non-usual conventional cases. It means that the front left is not clockwise, but is counterclockwise. So this one is clockwise, counterclockwise, and clockwise. So associated props are correctly written. So you have, for example, an A. You have to pick up a B here. So this is a A again. I will pick up one A again, and I say, okay, 1A again. I pick up all the A. So first, so you need to indicate in which direction they have self-tightenings. It's pretty good, so no problem. Okay, and you have this type of wrench to disassemble it. You can block the motors like this, and you can safely tight in the other end to remove them. You have also this micro USB cable ending with USB is to flash a new firmware into your quadcopter. Okay, for your transmitter, you will need a normal mini USB. It's not provided. Okay, so this is a classic S-band chassis used maybe since 2 years or 3 years. So you have this 4.3 inch FPV monitors, no sunshade, no protection, and well, this monitor is not fantastic visible in strong daylight, so definitively is not the best LCD display. The size is relatively small now, and the brightness very poor. Okay, and even with the sunshade, the situation is not much more improved. So the first bite point about this transmitter, 3 years old technology, definitely Hubsan should increase at least include a monitor with a better brightness. No external antennas, so it means that you still have a built-in 2.4 GHz and 5.8 GHz inside. So you have to apply the classic trick to install thanks to MUFL, EPX, RG 176 coaxial cable ending with the SMA or RP-SMA connector for the 2.4 GHz and 5.8 if you want, or maybe the 5.8 is here and 2.4 is here, I don't know exactly. Well, concerning the right side, you have the mini USB port to flash either a new firmware for the transmitter or for the LCD. You have a micro SD slot here, okay, but it's not used, it cannot be used to record FPV. That's another drawback. And here you have 3.5 millimeters jack connector, okay. So the bottom one is not used, only the upper one can be used to answer to it's another out for your favorite FPV Google, okay, if you want. So basically the commands are common, for example, from the other Hubsan 107D+. So for example, to engage here, this is a flight mode. One is the button. You are an altitude hold only with the barometers. When you are pushing up, you will play with the GPS altitude stabilization. So you will need to receive, at least for the quadcopter, 6 GPS to have this flight mode working. The right switch is to, when pressed up, to engage the return to home. Be aware you will need also a nominal number of GPS, okay, to fix a nominal number of GPS. If it's not the case, or during your flight back you are losing the GPS, it will, after 20 seconds, it will automatically land at the current location, okay? If you press on the left stick, you will engage your headless, and if you press on the follow me, you will engage the new features, because there is also a built-in GPS inside. This is the follow me, so the transmitter is sending through the upper link, okay, the built-in GPS coordinate of the transmitter, and the quadcopter will automatically try to track this local transmitter GPS coordinate. Well, the other also are common with the other Hubsan transmitter. For example, if you want to enter into the setup, you have to push down the left stick and long press on the right stick. Okay, and you will enter in the menu and you will navigate thanks to the right stick. So for example, my current version is, okay, actually 4.8. I will probably power the quadcopter to have the full information status also. So okay, so I will power the quadcopter. You will see that each time, more or less, you will have to restart a calibration. Okay, you have these LEDs flashing, and okay, the ESC finished to boot, and each time you are booting, well, depend of your current firmware version, you will have to perform the compass calibration. It's written compass 1, so it's very easy, I found, to make the compass. So the first of all, you will need to rotate 2 tours, okay, like this, pretty easy. And you still have the rotating red LEDs, and when you've done approximately 2 tours, it will change of color to green, okay, like this. It's written compass 2, picks the nose down and rotate of 2 tours also, and after the LEDs should stop to flash, more or less, okay, and the calibration is down. So I think it's a pretty good idea to oblige people to perform compass calibration each time. Okay, we remove this these props in case, and here you have the transmission. Okay, as you can see, so it's perfectly fluid, that's pretty good, and you have some OSD information. So on the top, on the red line, you have the local GPS coordinate. Actually, I'm indoors, so I cannot receive it. But on the yellow line, you have the built-in transmitter GPS, so useful for the follow me function. On the top, you have the level of batteries. The recording is on or not. The remaining free room in the micro SD card, actually it's 4 GB, okay, and you have the actual pitch and roll information, okay, and as well the altitude and the current velocity. If you press this button, you are currently filming, recording. Good news, no frame rate drop when it's recording. That's a pretty good news, okay? And if you press this button, you are shooting the photos, okay, up, and after you will have to repress again to return in normal 4.3 inch view. Well, a drawback of this FPV monitors, the transmission range, the FPV range, is not fantastic, and when you will lose your signal, you will observe a black screen, okay? So not only statics appearing on the FPV screen, but also black, suddenly some black screen, synonym that the firmware inside the monitors, LCD monitor, is not flashed with the compatible FPV friendly firmware. That's definitively a drawback, and since they are specialized now in FPV, they should insert a compatible firmware in this LCD display. Okay, all the information is here, but in strong daylight it's not so visible. The native resolution is not fantastic. You have something like 280 by something. Good news on your FPV monitors. If you go to your setup by long print, you can set your frequency. So, for example, this one is a default Boscam 1. This is the E8 if I'm not wrong, but if you want, you can change it, and it will automatically adapt, send the current frequency to apply to your video transmitter, included into your Hubsan. So, for example, you can go down to another compatible Boscam band. Okay, let's say this one, okay, or 20. Whatever, you will find your compatible. Okay, so it's pretty good. So you will be able to use a Boscam band or whatever if you have a 32 channel or 40 channel FPV reception ring, you will be able to collect the FPV signal transmitted by the Hubsan, that's for sure. Concerning the default control range is announced to be around 300 meters. Of course, with some better and antenna optimization, you can extend it. The radio protocol is a small variation of the former Hubsan one. It's already been almost deviated thanks to the garbage works. It will be soon available in the Nightingale's official release of Deviation TX. So actually remaining lacks the telemetry information, but should be included soon. So that's pretty good news. Okay, so concerning the flight duration, it's announced to be around 20 minutes. That's pretty good for such a model, but you have to be checked in practice. I will turn off the quadcopter. The motors are some 18 types, okay? No KV mention, okay? Nothing, and I don't think it's a very sporty flyers, okay, because the props are some 7.3 inch, so usually larger than, for example, the competitor, which is the GYU Hornet S, which got only some 6 inch to be a little bit more sporty. Okay, by default on the radio, you have the assistant flight thanks to the altitude hold here. You have the built-in barometers, or if you press up, you have the full GPS assistance. It will stabilize completely your Z altitude. But if you want some more sporty attitude, you will have each time to enter into your menus, to turn on the radio, and press down the left stick, right click more than once again, and here you have to go to set manual and to turn on or off the manual okay mode like this. So if you want or not to fly more freely without any flight assistance. Okay, so this is the default behavior, so full assistance, and I regret, for example, there is no specific switch button assigned to turn on and off the manual flight. Why not use this throttle trim button? Okay, it would have been a good idea. It's a drawback for me that I didn't think about. Well, I will start to conclude about this unboxing and quick analysis. Definitively, the main work have been done on the brushless version of the increased size X4. You have a nice GPS module capturing relatively fast satellites, but you have to know that this one, specifically for some nominal version of your firmware, could meet some problems, especially in the US. It has been reported that some older version of the firmware could bring some instability in the return to home, or could have suddenly some very strange behavior. So it's linked with some magnetic inclination according to your current location. Some new version of the firmware have been introduced, the 1.1.12 or .13. Actually, I've got the .1.1.9. I will do my first testing with the default firmware. Okay. Anyway, this quadcopter first of all is a nice concentration of some technology. It could be compared to the kind of flying 3D X6, but with a little bit more larger, but it's including a GPS, some assistant flight, and more of the follow me function. You have some strong brushless motors, very good autonomy, more than 20 minutes, well, around 20 minutes, and well, for me the drawbacks are, first of all, I'm not a great fan of this battery, especially the discharge rate. For me, you have a non-zero risk to have a motor's battery swagging, so maybe can happen that your quadcopter can fall directly because you have a kind of brownout or a motor's battery swagging. It's not a sporty flyers. Okay, the discharge rate is not strong enough. The camera is a static one, even it's in a 1080p, which is and got a good capacity to render the scene. This one will be full of the image will be shaking all the time because you don't have any gimbal installed. So especially in the windy condition, so the video will be little bit hard to see, and you will need some extra stabilization. Unfortunately, you don't have such software stabilization, built-in software stabilization like the Parrot model. I think the next upcoming Hubsan model will include such electronic stabilizations. You don't have any 4 GB, any micro SD card provided. Okay, strange choice of main lead connector, a C2, not very often used. Okay. About the radio, the field of view and the brightness is not fantastic. Okay, the angle of view is not fantastic, less than 30-40 degrees. You will need 4 AA batteries, and it's a battery heater, this transmitter. Okay, it's a drawback. No specific antenna port to install your favorite antenna and to extend the range and the FPV range. No micro SD card working to record your FPV flight. Well, the sticks are not fantastic. Definitively, the weakest point I would say on this model is the radio and actually the stability of the firmware. But the things start to improve, at least for the firmware situation, since the version 1.1.13, and I know very soon, next week, if I'm not wrong, according to my Hubsan contact, there will be another firmware available. Okay, so now I will practice more test flight. Okay, and try of course all the return to home, altitude hold, and follow me function. Okay, functionalities, and with first of all with the default installed firmware. Okay, and after I will upgrade to the last one and to see if there are some problems solved or some new problem coming. Okay, I hope you enjoy this long video. Sorry. And I will start also some RC group thread or include all my opinion into probably the main one. Okay, thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.